we have seen so far in English, and then we will continue with the next topic, and then I will try to use both the languages kind of equally. So the idea is we have mainly seen this particular framework, which is called Create framework, and the idea of Create is very simple. That whenever you are asking any particular query to your LLM, ensure that you are asking that particular question to the correct person, right? So therefore always ensure that you give the persona to your LLM model. Like let's say you are an experienced content writer, or you are an experienced person in the domain of physics, like Albert Einstein, right? Something like that, so that you get what you want, right? With respect to context of the output or content of the output, one can say. Next one is request. I don't need to explain this because most of the times we are good with putting the request. Examples are it's corresponding to take inspiration from the writing style, and some adjustments you can do, like for the enhancement of the outcome and to kill ambiguity. And of course, one must mention about type of output. So let me give you a couple of examples, then you will be able to appreciate this even more. So let's say if you are doing something with respect to writing domain, then what you should write, I have already explained. With respect to let's say email, if you are writing, if you are following Create framework, then you can say you are a professional copywriter skilled in creating engaging marketing email. Let's say I want to write a new marketing email, then I must start like this. And with respect to mathematics, one can say this: you are a mathematics teacher explaining complex concept very simply. That's a character part, right? Very easy to follow, right? Then the next one is request. So in the case of, I don't need to explain this because we know the purpose. Let's say I want email, professional email. In the second case, I want explanation for Pythagoras theorem. And in the first case, it's about kind of summarization, right? So this is very obvious. Next is examples. So this is quite important. Most of the times we forget to mention this. For example, with respect to summarization, I can give examples of famous newspapers like Harvard Business Review, right? With respect to second part, with respect to email writing, I can give example of course, Apple products announcement email, simple, innovative, yet inviting, right? And with respect to mathematics, of course, we can take inspiration from Khan Academy, which usually presents all the mathematical concepts very, one can say, practical as well as visually appealing manner, right? So that's the example part. And of course, you can give some adjustments, right? For example, just explain theorem, not give proof or unrelated details. You can avoid this. And with respect to generic email, you can also ensure that complete the email in just 3 sentences. I don't want too much details, right? So this is the idea of adjustments, as you can see. And then type of output, we can give, just like in the case of abstract we had given, we can give the format, right? This, please follow this particular format. And in the case of mathematics, we are just saying give output in terms of bullet list, right? And type of output, this is all matters, so that ideally you should give it along with your prompt. And there are some extras also, right? So for example, the most important, right? So can you guess what is the most relevant use case of chat GPT in teaching? What do you propose? I'm just going through your chats. If you are, or maybe you can unmute and tell me what's the single biggest use case which you can think of AI in your classroom?
Creating content in simplified language which
Dialogues.
can be understood by students.
Right. Of course. So today is Teachers' Day, and if we just go through the names of the teachers or which are kind of very famous, and more importantly, rather than famous, I should say outstanding teachers or extraordinary teachers. So they can relate with their audience very nicely, right? So they know their students very well, and they use in the classroom, they use a lot of examples. आपने ऑब्जर्व किया हो तो क्लास में बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स से वो एक्सप्लेन करते हैं, ताकि और वो एग्जांपल्स भी ऐसे होते हैं कि स्टूडेंट्स को अच्छे से समझ में आ जाए, राइट? सो that's the one of the most important quality of a good teacher, as per one can say my understanding. So what I recommend is, whatever topic you have, you should try to connect that particular topic with your students. So for example, let's say I would like to explain my students concept of, let's say, BFS, which is called breadth first search, right? It's a technical thing. One can if you are from computer science background, then maybe you can you know this. But what ideally I should do if I want to explain this to my students, and how chat gpt can help me with respect to this, right? So what I can do, if I just follow create, right, just create follow karunga, then I can just say assume a role of theoretical computer science scientist and an extraordinary teacher. So, as per your domain, you can kind of start assign rules like this. In my case, topic is from this sub branch of computer science, so therefore I have started with this. But in your case, it can be anything, and you can give multiple characteristics also, like I mentioned earlier. Right? You explain uh, difficult concepts in easy to okay. So let me share my screen. Right, it's not visible. So let me uh, share it. Okay. So hopefully it's visible now. So you explain difficult concepts in easy to understand language. Correct. Easy language में आप बता देते हो जो भी difficult चीज़ है वो. And I want you to give me explanation about BFS, which I can share with my students. सिर्फ इतना रखते हैं अभी, and some response will come, but this is not what I want, right? So कुछ आएगा. Of course this is correct. core idea बता दिया कि क्या होता है BFS, process बता दिया, right? It's all talking about process, example it's giving, it's fine. This is not wrong. Some applications, okay, fine, this is okay, this is good, but this is not the best. So what I should do ideally is I will continue this, right? This is my prompt, but this is not a complete prompt. I can mention some of the characteristics of my teacher so that the explanation comes aligned with those interest, or one can say characteristics. So what I can say, let's say my students, let's say before the class or before the start of the semester, I have done survey, and I know that my students love chess, and they also love web shows like let's say Squid Games. Okay. Just by adding this one line, you will be able to see the impact in the outcome. Now what it's going to do, it's going to come up with explanation in which both of these things are kind of connected. वो कैसे ये जो आप पढ़ाना चाह रहे हो वो और स्टूडेंट्स की जो हॉबीज है उसके बीच में क्या कोरिलेशन है, कैसे उसको आप मैप करके बता सकते हो, राइट? सो इट्स गिविंग मी द आइडियाज, हाउ कैन आई एक्सप्लेन आइडिया ऑफ BFS. मुझे पढ़ाना तो अभी भी BFS ही है, but the way I am going to connect it with this chess and Squid Games, students will be able to relate with it very easily. So अब इसके लिए आपको चेस आना जरूरी नहीं है, राइट? यू शुड बी नोइंग जस्ट बेसिक्स ऑफ इट. सो जो भी एज ह्यूमंस, मतलब हमारी लिमिटेशन क्या है, वी कैन नो ओनली कपल ऑफ थिंग्स, राइट, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू अपार्ट फ्रॉम स्टडीज. लाइक वी मे हैव सम हॉबीज और इंटरेस्ट, बट वी don't know everything which our students know in terms of hobbies or one can say interest. So we can take help of AI, because AI is trained on all those things and it knows how to connect unknown to known, and we can utilize this knowledge before going into the class, and we can come up with some innovative examples, like as you can see how it's related to this. It can be anything, right? This is just for one example, but you can imagine this use case, right? How impactful your teaching can become if you utilize ChatGPT like this, because usually we give same kind of examples repetitively in our classroom, right? But now with the help of AI we can make our kind of this activity, like learning activity, interesting, and also in some sense personalized, right? So personalization is one of the main objective of using AI. So hopefully you appreciate this, that how we can utilize, right? कैसे हम कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं जो हमारे स्टूडेंट के इंटरेस्ट के अकॉर्डिंग हम टॉपिक को मैप करके पढ़ा सकते हैं, राइट? सो देन स्टूडेंट्स विल बी एबल टू रिलेट विद दिस इवन मोर, right? So that's the whole idea of using metaphors. Okay. So now let me continue. So this we have. So one more thing which you can do is you can make things easier, right? So for example, let me try to kind of. I don't need to kind of. Uh, one second. कौन से cities से students आ रहे हैं हमारी कॉलेज में, राइट? सो देयर कैन बी नंबर ऑफ यूज केसेस. सो हमें क्या करना है, इसको समझना है पहले तो कि वेयर आवर कंपनी इज डूइंग वेल, कहाँ पे अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, कहाँ पे बुरा कर रहे हैं, एंड व्हाट आर द एक्शनेबल पॉइंट्स, कैसे इसको इंप्रूव किया जाए, राइट? सो यू कैन सी अगर हम खुद से करना चाहेंगे ये, देन इट विल टेक एटलीस्ट 1 आवर. पहले तो समझना पड़ेगा ये क्या ग्राफ इधर उधर ऊपर नीचे जा रहा है, क्या बता रहे हैं, कौन से रीजन सुपीरियर है ओवरऑल, राइट? सो बहुत टाइम कंज्यूमिंग है. एंड ऑल्सो that's the only first part. We get insights and then we have to come up with some actionable points के और अच्छा कैसे कर पाए, right? So it's very in some sense one can say time consuming thing, right? So how AI can help us over here, that's what we are going to see over here. So अभी क्या बोल दिया हमने, again we are following create. So assume you are expert in this data science domain with 20 plus years of experience, and analyze the given image, highlight top 5 key insights, which product is the biggest success, and top 3 actionable points so that we can improve our profit. And the most important thing is explain all this in a way you explain to a 10-year-old boy, right? So this is very nice use case of AI कि कोई भी complex चीज है उसको easy way में अगर convert करना है, then you can add this kind of sentence towards the end, right? Explain like you are explaining to a 10-year-old. So इसने start कर दिया. Top 5 insights are this कि most valuable product is iPhone. It's popular in India. Habits को analyze किया that in store purchase से ज़्यादा online ज़्यादा prefer कर रहे हैं लोग, right? People are preferring to buy online more. And then कौन से months में अच्छा performance हो रहा है वो भी बता दिया. दिसंबर में लोग ज़्यादा buy कर रहे हैं as compared to April, right? जब जिसमें सबसे कम buy किया. एंड देन एक्शनेबल पॉइंट्स भी दे दिए, राइट? कि ये चीजें करोगे तो ज्यादा प्रॉफिट करेगी कंपनी, राइट? एंड नाउ आई कैन से, राइट, लेट्स से मुझे ये रिस्पांस पसंद नहीं आया, आई कैन से एक्सप्लेन लाइक यू एक्सप्लेन टू अ 5-year-old child, right? So why this is important, because many of the times, right? So I hope, right, everything is proper. Okay, fine, it's working. Okay, so most of the times what will happen, as you can notice that not every time AI will give you what you want. So many times you have to kind of regenerate. So as you can see now it's explaining properly, all right, little birdie, right? And then it's explaining me that इसको book के context में बता रहा है, iPhone is the superstar, Asia is the best playground, right? Story के form में, right? Let me tell you a story in a way even your teddy bear would understand, right? So as you can see now it has simplified toys के साथ मैप करके बता रहा है कि दिसंबर टॉय फेस्टिवल होता है, सबसे ज्यादा टॉयज सांता आ रहा है, राइट? सो ज्यादा टॉयज बिक रहे हैं, अप्रैल में कम बिक रहे हैं, राइट? सम टॉयज कॉस्ट मोर टू मेक, राइट? मैकबुक ज्यादा प्रॉफिट नहीं कमा रही है तो वो यहाँ पे बताया हुआ है. सो बिगेस्ट टॉय हीरो आईफोन इज द टॉय हीरो, राइट? एंड 3 ways Apple can do even better: make online shopping more fun, celebrate boring months, build MacBooks smarter, right? So ये उसको सिंप्लीफाई कर दिया मतलब उसने, right? So अगर बिजनेस को गेम की तरह समझे, then iPhone is going to get gold medal, and मैजिक ट्रिक्स कुछ यूज कर दे, then और ज्यादा पॉइंट्स उसको मिल जाएंगे, राइट? सो इट कैन इवन convert this into a colorful chart or bedtime story, right? So maybe I can just say, go with, I can just say, let me just copy this and let me, hopefully it will paste it, right? Okay, fine. So let's see what it generates. Okay. Meanwhile, let's continue with other stuff, right? So hopefully you understand now the entire create framework, and ensure that you don't give too much things in one go. Right? Many of the times, what will happen that your output of first task is input of second task, and if you give all of them together, then AI will confuse. Right? So it's like, let's say, I've got a new job of, let's say, secretary. Right? So secretary बन के मैं गया कोई जो renowned person है उनके पास, and suddenly that person gives me 20 tasks. सुबह जाते ही उन्होंने बोल दिया कि 20 काम करके आओ, then I will be confused and I won't be able to deliver properly. बट अगर उन्होंने ऐसा अप्रोच रखा होता कि एक ही काम देते छोटा सा, वो मैं करके जाता तो वो दूसरा दे देते, वो करके जाता तो तीसरा देते, इन दैट वे आई कुड परफॉर्म इवन मोर देन 50 टास्क इन द सेम डे. बट एक साथ अगर दे देते तो नहीं कर पाता, राइट? सो सेम गोज विथ AI also, that if you give too many complex tasks together, then AI will be confused. So ensure that you break it into multiple prompts. So the classic example of this is my last conversation. उसमें मैंने बहुत कुछ बोल दिया था उसको, कि पहले तो मैंने बोला कि तुम ये actionable points दे दो, and then I was telling that also summarize it, like, or also explain like you are explaining to a 10-year-old. So वो फिर सारी चीजें नहीं कर पाया. He couldn't explain in simplified words. So then I had to tell it again that do this, right? So therefore it's better to break your task into multiple prompts, right? And for one prompt, ideally you should give only one task. Don't be vague. Analyze this, analyze that. वैसा नहीं, explicitly बताओ that what you want to be done or analyze. And iterative feedback is important, right? So it's a chat is an iterative process. ऐसा नहीं कि एक बार में जो आया वो complete होगा. You have to refine it, right? Fine. Now next, with respect to classroom, like I already mentioned about personalization. Apart from that, of course, we can use it for other important stuff like critical thinking, enhancement, and problem solving. Now, before I talk about custom GPTs, which is kind of where we don't need to follow this framework and still will be able to get what we want, I will do two things. First, I will showcase you the outcome of that particular prompt which is going on. Let's see if it has generated something. So as you can see, it has generated this kind of chart so that we can understand it. Okay, fine. It doesn't look that good to me, but it's okay. Now let me go to uh, one of the latest developments with respect to, because one more objective, right? If you go to the first slide, right? If you go to the first slide of the presentation, then mainly in the two sessions we need to cover these three aspects, right? Effective prompts, we have talked about it a lot. Now let me focus on other two aspects, right? Not only just curriculum. I won't limit myself just to curriculum or lesson plan generation, because of course, once you know create framework, you can write a nice prompt for curriculum development. So that's not that difficult. But along with curriculum, I feel that lesson planning, right? Individually in each class, what we are going to teach, that is also equally important. So I will be talking about some tricks and tips how we can do nice, generate nice lesson plans, that too of kind of free and useful, or maybe one can say impactful way, which can enhance student engagement. And along with that, I will also showcase some intelligent ways of generation of quizzes and all, right? So what I'm going to do now is, along with going to this particular tool, I will also share its link with you. I'm not sure how many of you have seen this, but recently, right, I guess just a couple of weeks back, I guess if I'm not wrong, then this is 3 weeks back, if I'm not wrong. So I'm sharing the link over here. Okay. So now Classroom, our Google Classroom also supports nothing but Gemini. They have integrated this within the classroom. So let me start with the most important feature, which all of us are kind of would like to prefer or use. So that is nothing but quiz generation. So generation is one thing, but it's going beyond generation. Let me try to explain. So first, so we don't need to follow create framework. Why? Because Gemini has trained this model. As you can see, it's kind of sub version of Gemini, trained exclusively for teaching purpose, right? So it's and also whatever we are going to generate, it's not going to use it for training purpose, right? So that is there in policy of Gemini. So we don't need to worry much about privacy also. एंड वी डोंट नीड टू लाइक आई मेंशन फॉलो क्रिएट को यहाँ पे फॉलो करने की जरूरत नहीं है क्योंकि ऑलरेडी ये उसने रोल ले लिया है कि दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग इज एक्सपर्ट इन एजुकेशन डोमेन. सो हमें जस्ट ये बताना होगा कि हमें किन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए क्विज बनाना है. सो लेट्स से आई एम टीचिंग माय यूजी स्टूडेंट्स, यूजी फर्स्ट ईयर स्टूडेंट्स, एंड आई वुड लाइक टू टीच देम लेट्स से पाइथन प्रोग्रामिंग का कुछ क्विज मुझे बनाना है. सो लेट्स आई वांट टू जनरेट 15 क्वेश्चंस. So now this is interesting कि अब मुझे ये नहीं बनाना है कि अनलाइक ट्रेडिशनल वे कि जिसमें हम वहां पे जाएंगे अपने गूगल फॉर्म्स पे और एक एक क्वेश्चन सोच के लिखेंगे. यहाँ पे जस्ट मुझे ये लिखना होगा कि कौन से स्किल्स चाहिए, राइट? व्हाट शुड बी द फोकस ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस. सो आई विल से दैट स्टूडेंट्स मस्ट बी एबल टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट, लेट्स से दे विल बी एबल टू नो बेसिक्स ऑफ लूप्स, राइट? कैसे वो लूप्स वर्क करते हैं, इंक्लूडिंग ऑफ कोर्स व्हाइल लूप, फॉर लूप. There are key differences, right? Key differences between them. Along with that, they should be able to understand break, continue, and what are some of the real-world applications, right, of this loops. Let's say my focus is on loops only, of Python loops. Right? So जैसे आपका भी जो भी टॉपिक हो यहाँ पे आप लिख सकते हो, जो भी आप करवाना चाह रहे हो, राइट? कौन से टॉपिक पे आप काइंड ऑफ बिल्डअप करना चाह रहे हो स्टूडेंट्स के स्किल्स, वो आपको यहाँ पे लिखना होगा. एंड देन यू हैव टू जस्ट प्रेस दिस पर्टिकुलर ब्लू बटन, जनरेट लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव. तो वो क्या करेगा, जो आपने लिखा हुआ है वो टॉपिक्स के अकॉर्डिंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स बना देगा कि ये हमारे लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. So it will take a couple of seconds, I guess, and we'll be able to see, right, कि ये हमारे ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हो गए. एंड यू कैन ऑल्सो मॉडिफाई. ऐसा नहीं कि ये जो इसने जो बोला वो यूज कर देना, राइट? सो ये तो मैं डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करने के लिए बहुत ही जल्दी लिख रहा हूँ और जल्दी आगे बढ़ रहा हूँ, बट आइडियली यू शुड वेरीफाई कि ये, क्योंकि जो भी क्विज बनेगी वो ये ऑब्जेक्टिव्स के बेसिस पे बनेगी, राइट? सो डिफाइन द फंडामेंटल कांसेप्ट ऑफ इटरेशन यूजिंग दिस इज गुड. वो चाहता था मैं. डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन दिस सिंटैक्स एंड एग्जीक्यूशन फ्लो ऑफ व्हाइल एंड फॉर, ये भी चाहता था मैं. Students will be able to implement while and they will be able to utilize for, right? और ये आगे भी बता रहा है कि this thing, ये break and continue भी आना चाहिए, right? Okay, it's fine, good. So now couple of options I am getting. Short question बनाना है, long question बनाना है, true false बनाना है. I will go with multiple choice. Let's say multiple choice question, and then I will click on generate question. So एक तो advantage ये हो गया, we don't need to go to Gemini or even ChatGPT to do so. Directly यहाँ पे चले गए और जनरेट हो गया. दैट्स द फर्स्ट एडवांटेज, एंड दैट टू नॉट रैंडम जनरेशन. एज यू नोटिस, ये जो भी क्वेश्चंस जनरेट हो रहे हैं, दिस क्वेश्चंस आर अलाइन्ड विद माय लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव. सो और भी अच्छा हो गया कि हमारा जो लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव है उसके ध्यान में रखते हुए ये क्वेश्चंस बन रहे हैं. दैट्स द सेकंड एडवांटेज. Now let me go to the third advantage. Of course, we can go to this. If you read this, I'm not sure how many of you are aware of Python, so therefore I'm not spending time over here कि कितने अच्छे क्वेश्चंस बने, but you will be able to appreciate it for your own topic. So आप अपने टॉपिक पे जनरेट करके देख सकते हो कि काफी अच्छी क्वालिटी के क्वेश्चंस बनेंगे. But the magic starts now. ये तो ठीक है, जनरेट भी हो गए, but now if I click on this particular export button, then you can see this button directly add to class. And before that, one more interesting thing is export to forms. So इस पे क्लिक कर दिया तो पूरा गूगल फॉर्म बन जाएगा जिसमें ये 15 क्वेश्चंस होंगे along with their correct answers. इमेजिन अगर हमारे पास ये बटन नहीं होता और ये टूल नहीं होता तो हमें, लेट्स से हमने जनरेट तो कर दिया, पर वो टाइप करने में या कॉपी पेस्ट करने में भी कितना टाइम हमारा चला जाता. बट नाउ विद दिस जस्ट वन बटन, द एंटायर थिंग विल बी कॉपीड into a nice and ready to kind of share. Right? I can easily share this. इसको बस शेयर करना ही रहा. Just इसमें मैं टाइटल चेंज कर दूंगा. ये टाइटल कुछ अजीब लग रहा है, but you can see it has generated the entire Google form. And यहाँ पे कहीं क्लिक करूंगा तो आप देख पाओगे कि it will also showcase right correct answer. इसका correct answer क्या है. right? So I don't need to do literally anything, right? I can just go ahead with just मुझे point set करने होंगे. Of course point set नहीं किए इसने, उतना छोड़ दिया है अभी. But apart from that, everything else is taken care. And this is ready to publish form, right? I can just modify this. यहाँ पे मैं quiz बोल देता हूँ कि let's say this will be my quiz one, or maybe quiz on loops, right? Whatever it is, and then I will just share it with my students, so you can see how smooth this is, right? Okay, sorry, maybe some uh, button is clicked unfortunately, जिस वजह से ये बार बार आ रहा है, but it will, okay, so this is, the page is still loading, that's why this issue is there, but soon it will be resolved, so you will be able to kind of modify this for sure. So hopefully you appreciate this. And again यहाँ पे एक चीज ध्यान में रखना, this is available only with your institute ID. आपका जो institute ID है उसमें आप जाओगे, then only you will be able to see this feature. This is not for normal user. आप teacher ID पे होना चाहिए, and most of the your institutes will have that Google Education account. So उससे वो automatic आपके पास आ जाएगा. In case it's not working, then you can contact your digital infra team. तो वो ये enable कर देंगे, and you should be able to use this for sure. It's means they are propagating this very soon to almost all the institutes as per my knowledge. So ये इतना दिक्कत वाला नहीं है, and you should be able to get it for sure. Okay, so hopefully you appreciate the power of that export thing. We have two kinds of export, as you can see. I can also add this to class, right? So then I have to just select the class and automatically वो उनके साथ share हो सकता है. That I could do with respect to some other type of questions, not kind of one can say MCQs. I could say, let me just change my prompt. I can just say generate 10 long question, or maybe let's say short questions based on the same setup, let's say. Okay, and then it will generate questions, right? So as you can see, short questions generate कर दिए इसने, right? And I can also go with right, long questions, at least 5. Okay, so again interaction is important, right? It should be interactive, ऐसा iterative, ऐसा नहीं कि एक बार जो आया वो वहां पे खत्म कर दिया. You can go on and on. So as you can see, not only it's giving question, it's also giving answer. Of course long मतलब उतने ज़्यादा long नहीं है, but still it's making sense. मतलब जो भी questions है और answers है, if you go through it, then it's there. But I'm not sure how many of you are going to use it for generation of long questions. Usually you will be interested in kind of generation of quizzes itself. So quizzes तो बहुत ही आसान होगी, as you can see. Okay, fine. Now let me showcase some other aspects of this setup. There are a lot of kind of possibilities with this kind of classroom. I'm not sure how many of you could access. Can you just give some kind of emojis to let me know that whether you could access this or not? आपने try किया क्या? If you are using, if you are on your system, then you can just click on this particular button. Okay, fine.
We don't have it, sir.
Okay, so then contact your admin, so they he or she will be able to enable it. But even if you don't have access, you can get insights कि इन्होंने जो generate किया, that in generation process, what all information this particular tool is asking, and you can give all those information to ChatGPT or DeepSeek, and you will get the same kind of response for sure. So in terms of quality of response, I'm not saying that you are missing on something. It's just that this is integrated. So that means you don't need to go back and forth. That's the main idea. But okay, let me go to other
It saves
use case,
time.
which is nothing but lesson plan. Yes.
It
Yes,
is saving time.
Huh?
It is saving time.
Yes, of course, it's absolutely right. It will save a lot of time, and that too without compromising quality, right? Because we are going to get exactly what we would like to kind of design or give to our students. Okay. Now, one more interesting thing is, this is even better as compared to quiz generation, is lesson plan. Usually we avoid it, but I recommend it to do it because now we will be able to do it very quickly, and that we will also get some insights which were missing earlier. So let me try to demonstrate this to you. So again, let's say UG first year students. Okay. template, right? I can follow some specific template like phi, but for now I'm going with journal. So now I will also try to generate this for you, so you can also mention some topic in your chat box. But before that, just see what I'm writing, and then accordingly you should write. So what I'm going to do, let's say I'm teaching district mathematics to my first year students, and I'm going to talk about Euclid's algorithm for GCD. Okay, and I would like to explain them GCD LCM theorem also, and most importantly, real world applications of this algorithm, especially in the domain of cryptography, which is called RSA algorithm, right? And then I would also like to cover extended Euclid algorithm, but I guess that will be too much for one class. Let's say this much is sufficient. And Euclid's algorithm, and I can also mention Euclid's algorithm versus classroom algorithm. Right? So I am just broadly giving kind of a classroom algorithm or school algorithm. Right? Normally, one can the traditional way of finding GCD based on kind of factors. Right? So that's right. So अब मैंने क्या किया, जो भी टॉपिक्स मैं कवर करना जा रहा हूँ मेरे क्लास में, बस वो लिख दिया, ज्यादा डिटेल में नहीं, जस्ट टॉपिक के नाम लिखे हुए और कुछ नहीं किया. एंड देन अगेन नेक्स्ट स्टेप वहां पे था वैसा ही, आई विल क्लिक ऑन जनरेट ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, right? So now it will intelligently convert this into learning objectives. Okay, ये सारी चीजें at the end of the class students will be able to apply, explain, and I could also mention that follow Bloom's taxonomy. राइट, अगर ये करता तो क्या होता, जो ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी है उसके अकॉर्डिंग नाउ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स विल बी काइंड ऑफ जनरेटेड. सो नाउ आई कैन पिक ऑन रीजनरेट objectives, so then it will follow this Bloom's taxonomy, right? So you can see explain, apply, right? So those words are coming which are more aligned towards Bloom's taxonomy. And I can also mention that generate 3 objectives, right? Let's see, generate 3 objectives. Okay, let's see whether it's taking that or not. Okay, so unfortunately it didn't take that particular input, but it's okay. Means I can modify and I can add one more objective if I want. If something is missing, I can just kind of add it. So I will just add something simpler, like students will be able to map the algorithm with, let's say, their hobbies. Okay, something like this. This doesn't make much sense because this is not a formal objective, but I would like to make this. So ideally, I guess this will be make much more sense over here, where I will be describing my students. So what I'm going to do, I will say that what is the size of my students, how many students I'm teaching, what's the size of my class. So let's say I'm just teaching 40 students, okay, and then I can mention their interest also. So let's say they love idea of badminton. They are good with badminton, and they with indoor games they are good with chess. This much they know, and they know basics of let's say before this topic I've already covered sets, functions, and relations. Right. So the more information you give, the better the lesson plan will be. Okay. So this much is sufficient. Let's say what it gives. So you will be able to see soon a lot of subsections, and some of the subsections are kind of very intuitive. मतलब ऐसे subsections है जो actual में आपकी teaching को एक नए level पे ले जा सकते हैं if you follow this before every class. So personally, what I like is, as you can see, common misconception. Right? This section is my favorite. ये क्या बताता है कि across the world जब भी ये टॉपिक पढ़ाया जा रहा है तो स्टूडेंट्स को क्या कंफ्यूजन होता है वो उसने पहले से बता दिया. एंड इट्स आल्सो गिविंग मी अलोंग विद दैट व्हाट्स द रिजोल्यूशन टेक्निक, कि क्या मिसकंसेप्शन होते हैं स्टूडेंट्स के ये सीखने में और इसको आप रिजॉल्व कैसे कर सकते हो. राइट, सो मिसकंसेप्शन वन इज स्टूडेंट्स में बिलीव द क्लासरूम मेथड लिस्टिंग फैक्टर्स इज ऑलवेज द मोस्ट एफिशिएंट वे ऑफ फाइंडिंग दिस. इज द करेक्ट थिंग. स्टूडेंट्स को यही लगता है कि यही सबसे अच्छी मेथड है जो उन्होंने स्कूल में पढ़ी और नया पढ़ने की क्या जरूरत है. सो उसको कैसे आप resolve करोगे, and it's also going to map it with some activity. We'll soon see how. Next, students might not understand the connection between these two, right? How this theorem works, right? तो उसको कैसे resolve करोगे उसका भी उन्होंने बताया हुआ है कि कैसे, right? What are the possible responses? Right? How are you going to kill this misconception? And the third one is कि स्टूडेंट्स को लगेगा कि ये तो बहुत ही एब्स्ट्रैक्ट एल्गोरिथम है, इसका तो क्या ही यूज होता होगा. एंड देन basically with activity we are going to map it with RS algorithm, right? So as you can see, first activity उसने पूरा बता दिया that how you can start your lesson. You can start with this activity 1. Students will first find GCD of given number pairs using the familiar classroom method. Then they will be introduced to this algorithm and apply it to the same pair, and then we'll compare. It's also giving me intuition. Let's say you are teaching this for the very first time. I have taught this many times, so I know that what should be the flow. Right? I must start with this particular topic, then this, then this. So logical sequence, right? And if you already know, then it will give you some interesting activities which you can plan in your classroom. Right? So as you can see, now it's trying to relate this with badminton. Can you see? Okay. So that's the power of AI, right? So and it's also giving me step by step, right? What all I should do: engage, explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate, right? And what questions I should ask. That is also it's guiding me, right? So we don't have that much time to kind of appreciate this in detail, because even if I read this response, then the session will be over. So therefore, I'm skipping it. But what I encourage you to do is you feed your own topic and then see the response, and then you will be able to appreciate the power of it. Right? So then next, as you can see, it's a second activity. Again, it's giving me the detailed guide how I should explain this part of the kind of lecture, and then finally the third part, which is application part. It makes sense also. Application must comes towards the end. I can just briefly mention that of course we are going to talk about application so that students feel motivated, but they won't be able to connect with this application if they don't know fundamentals. So I must explain first GCD, then Euclid's algorithm, and then I must explain this. So it's logically sensible also, right? As you can see. And then it's also giving me some exit ticket questions that at the end of the class, you can ask some question to ensure that whether students have understood this properly or not, right? And then if I go back and showcase you the earlier part, then this is also quite interesting. It's also giving me all the material needed to explain this particular topic. Maths you can't verbally teach. You must need whiteboard and markers, or maybe some digital board, right? And optional thing is of course calculator if for some large numbers, right? And of course, if you are teaching RS algorithm, then a handout will be a better. Right? So it's also giving me that for complex topic, it's not possible to write everything on board, or maybe students won't be able to grasp everything in one go. So it's better to give them handout, right? So वो भी वो समझ के आपको बता रहा है कि ये भी करो तो ज़्यादा अच्छा, right? And as you can see, it's very, and based on this we can create, let's say if I don't like this activity, badminton based, then I can give something else. Let's say regenerate, modify the activities to include a softer, right? So it's also giving me some follow-up buttons. Okay, इनको अगर click कर दिया तो automatic it will kind of select, it will be selected, and then you can see shift focus to a project based learning approach. So वो भी कर सकते हो कि project based approach से same topic आप पढ़ाना चाह रहे हो, so that is also possible. You can see how powerful this is, and now by clicking on this particular button, now it's going to give different activities for the again same task, right? So you can see, so now the activity is different, right? कैसे करेंगे वो भी बता हुआ है. Divide the class into small groups. So this is quite challenging, but usually we do this kind of activity for teaching some subjects related to debate or management. But for formal subjects like mathematics, how to come up with this kind of one can say intuitive activities, and we don't have that much time, right? We try to spend as much time as possible for thinking innovative solutions with respect to metaphors and all, but we have limitations. So that limitation can be killed with this tool, as you can see. So even if you don't have access to it, don't worry. You can just mention explicitly. If you want the same response with ChatGPT, all you need to do is you have to ensure that you give this headers in your prompt. that I want lesson overview, I want material needed, I want preparation required, I want common misconception, I want activities aligned with student interest, right? So then the response will be equivalent, right? If I guess only few of you won't have access to this, but still, for the sake of completion, I'm just highlighting this one more time, right? And apart from this, I would highlight one more interesting use case, which is of course rubric, but I will come to it afterwards. Before that, I would also like to demonstrate one more, which is called relabel text. This is very much interesting. So let's say you are teaching one particular topic related to, let's say, LLMs, okay? And आपने एक blog पढ़ा, blog बहुत ही अच्छा लगा आपको, and you felt that this particular explanation must be shared with your students. But there is one issue. जो blog है वो आपके लेवल का है, that means it's of PhD level और postdoc level, and जो words है वो बहुत ही heavy है, और जो students है आपके वो their knowledge or their vocabulary, it's kind of limited. They won't be able to understand those heavy words. So उसके लिए this that for that particular use case, this relabel text feature is quite helpful. So let me try to demonstrate this. Okay, so finally this is loaded, and now as you can see, I can change the title of this. Right? So some strange reason it's going back and forth, or maybe some different button is pressed one more time. So what I can do at least is I can create a copy of it. That I can do for sure, and then I will be able to edit right, very easily. Right? So that you can do. Right? This you can do. I'm keeping this because we don't have that much time, but now we'll be able to edit this for sure, right? So of course I can rename this, and I'll be able to continue. Okay, fine. So that was about quiz, but I'm talking about relabel now. So let me go to let's say I search blog on how LLMs work. Okay, let's see. And whatever comes first, let's go to that particular blog. Okay, and how large language models work from zero to ChatGPT. Okay, so this is kind of seems very authenticated, right? And it seems correct. So let's say I like this, right? This basic definition of let's say this 4 terms, and let's say I just want my students to know this. Okay, I'm not doing anything fancy over here. Let's say this paragraph, I want my students to read. So what I do, I will just paste this paragraph over here, okay? And I will set my grade standard. Let's say this is, I am sharing with my students of standard 7 or maybe students of standard 5, okay, fine. And then the interesting thing is, even in this translation, there are some keywords. कुछ keywords होंगे, उनका अगर मैंने काइंड ऑफ चेंज कर दिया, वो कीवर्ड्स को अगर मैं अलाउ कर रहा हूँ चेंज करना, तो फिर पूरा मीनिंग ही डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएगा. So those keywords must remain as it is. For example, AI must remain AI, ML must remain ML, LLM must remain LLM. Right? I can't change this words like deep learning or machine learning. So I must mention कि भाई इनको तो as it is रखो, बाकी कुछ आप change करना चाहो तो कर सकते हो. Right? So those keywords, whatever I give, they will remain as it is, and then I will click on this generate button. Right? And then we'll soon able to see what original text was and what it has converted into, right? So you can see जो green में आ रहा है, the text which is coming in green, that is nothing but the text which is added, which is generated by this particular AI to simplify things, right? So as you can see, यहाँ पे pattern recognition is difficult, तो उसको simplify करके क्या बोल दिया? Finding patterns in information, right? और ये उसने एग्जांपल भी ज्वाइन कर दिया. आई एम नॉट श्योर दिस एग्जांपल वाज देयर, राइट? दिस वाज नॉट देयर. इसने ऐड किया. इमेजिन यू सी अ पैटर्न लाइक रेड, देन ब्लू, देन रेड, देन ब्लू. Then if you see that next, then you can guess the blue will come to it next after it. So this is quite fantastic. मतलब ये तो इसने बताया भी नहीं था. Original text, in original text this part was not there. It has added this to enhance the understanding of my student who is just learning this new domain, right? So this is how you can use this particular important feature, right? And you just need to click on this overlapping button to copy overlapping rectangles. If you just click this button, then it will be copied, and then you can directly share it to class also. This is just to save it somewhere. But if you like this really much, then you can just add to class option is there, and then it will ask me, right, which class I'm talking about, right? Then I can select a class and I can, I don't want to share this, so therefore I'm stopping over here. But ideally, if I just click on this button, confirm, right? I can go under this material tab and I can just click confirm, and then it will be shared with my students, right? I can also export this to my docs if I want to design, or if I want to write a new article which is using less heavy words, so that can be easily understood by general audience. For that purpose also I can use it, right? So there are multiple ways of using it. Fine. Next, what I would do is I will quickly go to this rubric option, right? There is one more thing over here, rubric. There
Sir,
are many other
isn't
things.
it like a paraphrasing?
This is not like paraphrasing. In paraphrasing, the objective is different. In paraphrasing, objective is to kill plagiarism. Here we would like to enhance understanding of our students. तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं कि जो difficult text है उसको easy to understand way में present करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं with the help of AI, ताकि जो कन्वे करना चाह रहा है कंसेप्ट वो तो कन्वे हो ही, बट आसान लैंग्वेज में. लेट्स से जो 5th स्टैंडर्ड में है उसको जितने वर्ड्स पता होंगे, राइट, that the number of words will be drastically less as compared to number of words which you are knowing. So uski vocabulary mein convert karke we are going to explain the same concept. So that's the whole idea, that we like some material, but that material is of very high level in terms of technical terms and explanation. Abstraction is there, it's not explaining in detail, but we would like to re-level it to our understanding of our students. So that mapping is done by AI, and then we can share it with our students. So the internal mechanism, it's one can say it's paraphrasing, but plus reiteration to accommodate users' need. That's how it works. It's not just about paraphrasing in some sense. Because paraphrasing is less
Thank
over
you.
here. We are not worried about repetition, right? We are worried about just killing difficult terms and to make it more user friendly in some sense with respect to reading. Next important thing is rubric, right? This is also one of the most important part of teaching learning. We give assessment, but we don't give them what's the assessment criteria. How are we going to evaluate it, right? So that's very important. And ideally, we should give our assignment over here so that it can generate very nice rubrics. Okay, so rubrics का मतलब क्या है? Criteria जो स्टूडेंट्स को हम पहले से बता दें, ये क्राइटेरिया के बेसिस पे आपका असाइनमेंट हम इवेलुएट करने वाले हैं. जो उससे क्या होगा, स्टूडेंट्स अपना असाइनमेंट उसी तरीके से लिखेगा कि दिस आर द रिक्वायरमेंट्स एंड आई हैव टू एंश्योर दैट आई फुलफिल ऑल दिस रिक्वायरमेंट्स, राइट? सो दैट्स द आइडिया ऑफ रुब्रिक. सो लेट्स से अगेन यूजी फर्स्ट ईयर. ओके, परफॉर्मेंस लेवल, इसका मतलब जल्दी पता चलेगा. आई एम लीविंग इट एज इट इज फॉर नाउ. लेट्स आई गो टू माय ड्राइव एंड कोई रिसेंट असाइनमेंट में पिक करने की कोशिश करूंगा which I have given to my students. So this is fine. Lab assignment is there. Ideally, I should also showcase you what this lab assignment is. So let me try to do it. And of course, it's of Python programming. So I can write over also. Here it's not required. It's fine. I can just mention the skills which I would like to check while checking the assignment. So as you can see, this is the assignment. It has 4 parts, 4 questions, and some additional questions, challenges towards the end. Okay, so this is my assignment, and I would like to give my students what's the assessment criteria. So I must mention based on which skills I would like to check the knowledge of my students with respect to this particular assignment. So I will just write couple of skills like readability of the code. कोड जो लिखा है वो पढ़ पा रहा है कि नहीं, राइट? Especially I will check for comments and syntax, right? All those things I will check. Then I will check correctness, of course, correctness of code and output, right? Then I will also test, right? All test cases must be considered. And then finally I will look for time complexity, right? Whether it makes sense. In computer science, right, you will be able to appreciate this even more. But the idea is कि जो approach है वो सबसे बेस्ट अप्रोच है या नहीं, करेक्ट? सो दोज आर द थिंग्स बेस्ड ऑन व्हिच आई एम गोइंग टू, सो फॉर you will be able to kind of come up with your own criteria, but this is how I'm going to. And if I don't write something, if I don't like, then I can modify. For example, I don't want to mention comment explicitly, then I can remove it, and then I can just click on rubrics, and soon it will be able to generate a beautiful table in which all those criteria are mentioned along with what is expectation. Readability, this is what we are expecting. If your performance is excellent, if you want 10 out of 10, then this is my expectation. If you want 7 out of 10, then this is my expectation. If you want just passing marks, then this is my expectation. And if you do this, then you will get failed grade. And this we will do for all the criteria. ये सबके लिए करेंगे. Readability में ये चाहिए मुझे. The code is exceptionally well organized, consistently uses meaningful variable names, include helpful comments, right? So ये आपके particular use case में ज़्यादा sense बनेगा. You can just mention right, whatever your assignment is there, and what criteria is that, and then you will be able to have this kind of rubric. And then आपको क्या करना है? If you are satisfied with this, so now you will be able to guess कि यहाँ पे जो performance levels है वो 4 रखे हैं, तो वो क्या represent करता है? Exceeding, meeting, approaching, and far from approaching. And if I give it kind of what do you say 5, performance level 5, तो एक और column यहाँ पे add हो जाएगा, right? So then that is representing nothing but performance levels. And now if I like this, then I can just add this to my class, right? And then students will be able to see this. Okay, this is the assessment criteria based on which right, marks will be given. So this is a very good practice, and most of the foreign universities follow this, right? Usually after completion of the questions, they give this kind of table that this is what expected from them, right, with respect to outcome, right? So hopefully you appreciate this and use this. It's a very nice way of generating rubrics. Okay, fine. So enough about, I guess, lesson plans and in some sense one can say other aspects of assessments. Let me talk about something related to custom GPTs now. So now what is the idea of custom GPT? Let me again go to my slides. So now we'll talk about custom GPTs, and I will demonstrate how good they can be for your day-to-day tasks or whatever it is, right? For variety of tasks, custom GPTs are there, and they are kind of underutilized. It's underrated feature of Chat GPT. And personally, this is the differentiating factor of Chat GPT with respect to other LLMs, because Chat GPT offers creation as well as utilization of custom GPTs, not other platforms offer as of now. That the famous ones. Of course, there are some other kind of separate platforms are there, including Poe, which allows creation also, but not Gemini or DeepSeek or not Perplexity. Right? It's not there on these platforms. Okay. So, what's the idea of custom GPT? So it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Right? This is a famous quote from Charles Darwin. So what's the idea of custom GPT with respect to this particular quote? So let's say AI is there, Chat GPT is there. Okay, all of us are using this. But let's say suddenly you have noticed something that for this particular prompt, my response is very nice. And why it's very nice? Because I have written my prompt very nicely. Let's say I have followed Create framework. That's the first reason. Apart from that, I'm also adding my knowledge to it. मैंने अपना क्लास के नोट्स इसमें डाले हुए हैं. मैंने अपने लेट्स से जो भी अभी तक के जो पढ़ा है पाइथन कोड, वो सारे कोड्स भी इसमें मैंने डाल दिए. एंड जो रिस्पॉन्स आ रहे हैं वो ज्यादा अच्छे हैं एज कम्पेयर टू नॉर्मल माई चैट जीपीटी मोड. राइट, इट्स मोर पर्सनलाइज ऑल्सो कि वो यूजर को जो जरूरत मिल रही है उस हिसाब से इसमें काम हो रहा है. सो लेट मी ट्राई टू गिव वन डेमो एंड देन यू विल बी एबल टू अप्रिशिएट दिस इवन मोर व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से. सो व्हाट आई विल डू, आई विल कंबाइन दिस टू थिंग्स. कि मैंने क्या कर दिया कि ये प्रॉम्प्ट जो हमेशा अच्छा काम कर रहा है उसको along with my knowledge उसको मैंने क्लब कर दिया और इसको एक बंडल करके मैंने पब्लिक कर दिया. So now everyone won't be able to see my code or my prompt, but they will be able to interact with it. That is called custom GPT. मैंने क्या कर दिया, custom मतलब क्या होता है, we are customizing it. as per our needs. So this is not version of by default version of ChatGPT. This is highly customized as per my instructions and as per my knowledge, so that students will be able to appreciate and utilize the power of this modified version of ChatGPT in some sense. That's the idea of custom GPT. So let me demonstrate this to you. Then you will be able to appreciate this even more. So what I'm going to do, let me just try to open something with respect to custom GPT, and then I will showcase. Okay, maybe I placed it twice. Okay, fine. So let me go over here. So this is soon you will be able to see one custom GPT which was designed by me, and it is very much appreciated by the students, and also globally it has got two recognition. The first recognition is it was featured by OpenAI in its newsletter, which is called Chat GPT for Education. And apart from that, recently OpenAI has also started one academy, which is called OpenAI Academy. There also they are kind of giving, kind of teaching how to use Chat GPT. So this was they have requested me. They had requested me to prepare one video showcasing how I developed it and what was the impact of it. So I got that recognition also. Recently it was published in OpenAI Academy also. So what's the idea of this particular GPT? Let me try to demonstrate that first to you. So let's say I would like to generate. So I'm starting with S. S stands for story, and I will write name of one particular student. Let's say I am my student for now, Mahipal, because we don't have much time, so I'm not asking you. And let's say I love one particular movie. Let's say Three Idiots. Okay, and I would like to learn about wild look. So what this particular GPT will do is it will create one interesting story in which Mahipal will be the main character, and the story will revolve around this particular movie, Three Idiots, and it will connect uh, the concept of wild loop in between, as you can see. And default language, since this is aligned with NEP 2020, the default language of response is Hindi, but of course we can uh, kind of what we can say convert this into English, right? And shortcut is if I just write E, then response will be converted into English. But I will do this afterwards. But let's go to this particular story. So you can see it's starting with this particular setup, and it's also taking characters from the movie, as you can see, right? And then it's coming up with one particular scenario and question, and then again it's trying to relate it with Instagram, right? How it's related with Instagram, and then as you can see, it's also giving some this other metaphors, and then converting that particular question from the story into a code so that students can appreciate it even more, and along with some references. But let me write E, so then the entire response will be converted into English, and we'll be able to that, as you can see, right? So now it has converted into English mode, right? And then it's also giving me some metaphors so that I can understand this very easily. Let's say I would like to start with some other topic. Let's say I would like to learn for loops, so I will just mention for loops. Then it will give kind of mini lesson in for loops by explaining all the ideas of for loops, why one should learn for loops. That's the motivation. Then some metaphors. By default it's going to give metaphors assigned with aligned with student life, that is there. Then syntax and code. Then of course some other example, right? Video recommendation. This is fine. But let's say I don't like this. Even after going through this, I didn't understand this properly. Then I will just write R. R stands for what are the real world applications of this particular concept in computer science. So as you can see, now it's giving me some application in data analysis. It will be helpful. It will be also helpful in web scraping, so that students will feel motivated that it's not whatever we are going to learn, it's not just for the sake of learning. It has application even in game development, right? So as you can see, now it's showcasing me all the use cases where this particular concept can be helpful, and something in between is there, just like today's class where I'm mixing English with Hindi, which is called English mode. So I also added this English mode in this particular. Right? There are some other capabilities also, but I'm not going to it. The purpose is just to showcase how kind of chat this particular kind of tool looks like, custom GPT looks like, and let me showcase you the kind of one can say app store of one can say custom GPTs. And There are more than 40,000 custom GPTs available just in education domain. Right? So you can imagine that how rich this particular store is. It is just like our app store of our normal phone, right? Android store, or maybe if you are using iOS, then iOS store. So a lot of apps are there, and you can kind of what do you say? Um Go to select the tool which is aligned with your interest. For example, if you would like to do research, then Scholar GPT is for you. Literature review करना है तो Scholar GPT use करो, right? So you for like along with each kind of GPT, you will be able to see the description कि इसके क्या rating है, कितने conversations है. So if you, rating is good, then of course it's doing well, and you can kind of just interact with it. Here you don't need to follow kind of create framework, because this particular GPT, Scholar GPT, it's designed for literature review itself. So I don't need to say that you are expert in doing literature review, or you possess this knowledge of how to extract meaningful insights from the research paper, so on and so forth. Though that time I can save, because this is very much kind of aligned with kind of trained to become a good literature reviewer, right? So I can just skip that particular part. I can just mention my topic. I will just say find the latest research in domain AI in education, right? And then it will do this, right? It will search Google Scholar, right? And of course, I have to click on allow so that it can connect with the corresponding service, right? So it's giving me the insights about the papers, along with, as you can see, it's giving me directly links from where I can read about these papers. So this is just one use case. And let me showcase you the category, right? So I'm not going into the details. Of course, you can play with this and identify your use case. But usually, along with each custom GPT, there will be one option of which is called detailed guide. One button will come which is called detailed guide. If you click on it, then you will be able to understand the functionalities of that particular GPT, and then accordingly you can kind of interact with it, right? What all features it support. So, for example, many of the times I get this particular
Do you
query:
like the Mayura?
how to make it
Why?
human-like. So that is humanizer AI is also there. So likewise, you can. Yes, any queries? Okay, fine. So you can see categories: writing, productivity, research, education. If I go to education, then you will see a lot of math solver is there, interview and resume generator, right? Or coach assistant, academic assistant pro. This is also there. If I click, and it's just showcasing top 6. Some Chinese GPT is also there, I guess. Uh, if I click on see more, then I will be able to see a lot more than this, right? I can also go to its physics and so on and so forth. I can go to this productivity, and then I will get that diagram. If you would like to generate, then this is the best one. Presentation generator, right? Resume generator, right? So on and so forth. All of this are free, means interactions are free. For generation, you have to go for plus plan. But if you would like to use this, then it's freely available, and it's a very one can say not utilized properly as of now, right? Not a lot of people are using it, unfortunately, but I recommend it to use. So basically, what you can do, depending upon your use case, let's say I would like to search on Excel, right? I would like to do something aligned with Excel. Then I can just search Excel, and then I will soon able to see some GPTs which are aligned with Excel, right? Excel AI was the first one, so I could select Excel AI. You can see 2 million plus interactions are there. So it's one of the best custom GPT available for this particular purpose. If I would like to do something related to Excel, right? And then of course you can interact with it more and get the best out of it, right? So this is one more feature. So now I guess it's a good time that I take some questions. But the idea I have already explained, right? What this custom GPT, and maybe I can just showcase some names which are good with respect to custom GPTs, and then you can use them right? So of course Python ki Pathshala is one in case if you are teaching Python or if you would like to learn it. But apart from that, Scholar GPT, Code Copilot, right? All of these are famous ones. But and for your domain also you can search, right? I will share the link of this particular custom GPT platform, so you can go to that particular platform and search the GPTs corresponding to your domain, and then you will be able to utilize the power of them. And of course, there are some other tools also like Umata, but I will cover it tomorrow. And these are my contact details. So in case if you would like to connect with me afterwards, so the LinkedIn ID is there, email address is there, because I'm sure that I won't be able to answer all the questions during the session. So afterwards, if you have any questions, then you can connect with me, and then we'll be able to discuss. Okay. Yes. So any
Sir,
question?
hello.
Yes, sir. Go on.
Sir,
Sir,
uh,
hello, sir, am I audible? Hello, sir.
Yes, yes, you are audible. Yes, go on.
Yes, you are audible. सर तो कस्टम जीपीटीज जो है वो स्टूडेंट फ्रीली पूरा यूज कर सकते हैं, उसके लिए प्लान लेना वगैरह जरूरी नहीं है?
नहीं जरूरी नहीं है, बट यू हैव टू यूज इट इंटेलिजेंटली, मीन्स लाइक